Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday Mentor with Jen. I'm Jen Whitmer, and I help teams and leaders solve conflict, cultivate communication, and create empowered teams. And I am so excited about our guest today over here. My friend Jordan, who is a personal stylist and an all-around lovely person. She has so much to offer us, and I can't wait for her to talk with us about why our image matters and how that connects with who we are on the inside. So Jordan, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Oh, me too. We have had conversations about this over the years. And so I'm super thrilled that you're here to talk about this. So my first question for you though is, how did you get here? Like, how did you become a personal stylist? And tell us a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't actually start here. I started as a celebrity stylist and a red carpet stylist. I thought that when I was getting into the world of fashion and styling, I imagined that celebrity was the only way to go. And I also thought it would be the best fit for me. I had come from a long background in retail, so like helping women choose clothes, helping them find things that make them feel really good. And so I always imagined that the natural progression into style would just have to be celebrity. And when I came into that world, it was totally missing that transformational piece that had brought me there in the beginning. It was like show up on set, dress somebody, and leave, and miss that entire piece that was seeing the confidence shift, seeing the transformation in the person. And so it was just so not a fit. Like I felt so out of place there. I was missing what was drawing me to that work in the first place. And so it was with that I really shifted gears. I started my business out of that, really shifted into the world of personal styling and helping women find the clothes that aligned with how they felt on the inside. And it's just been a night and day shift in my business and myself, and in my ability to serve people. So I'm so grateful to be where I am now, but I think sometimes I needed to go through that in order to see what was really clear on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all resonate with that. Here's what I thought was the way to go. And then we get there and we're like, oh, that actually isn't what I want to do. And sometimes we can feel shame around that. Like, oh, I totally missed it. But what you just said was what's so important. If I hadn't have gone through this experience, I wouldn't know as much as I do now. So that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Really powerful.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you is because I think we have so much for women in leadership that we just there's all these old stories about how it has to be done like a man, or it has to look this way. And that doesn't always align with who we are on the inside.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about why it's important for us to talk about style and our image in general.
Yeah, I love this conversation. So I think to bring it back to what I was saying previously, the reason that I didn't fit in that world of celebrity was because I've never really aligned with this belief of style needing to look a particular way or to follow certain rules, ascribing to trends, none of that. I've always come from this place of believing that when we can represent ourselves on the outside in the way that we feel on the inside, we really come into alignment and show up as our best self. So I think this belief around like style having to look a certain way for women, and if we're not following it that way, we're doing it wrong. I just can't get behind that. But what I can really get behind is just women finding a way to lean into what's truly them. So not ascribing to a man's world necessarily, not ascribing to certain rules around it, but just this idea of when we can dress in the way that really feels like us and in a way that we've chosen to represent ourselves. I truly believe that we just show up completely differently. I'm sure you've had an experience, and I'm sure a lot of people listening have had an experience where they've represented themselves in a way that didn't feel like them. So I often give the example of like, you get ready really quickly to go to work, or you go to a meeting, you show up on Zoom and you're presenting yourself in a way that's like, oh shoot, this isn't the way I wanted, and I don't feel great about the way I'm presenting myself. And now all of a sudden, all of my attention goes to that.
Yes.
I can't speak the way I want to speak. I can't I can't convey my message in the way that I want to, because all I'm thinking about is feeling so out of alignment with the way that I want to show myself. So this idea of really being able to bring those two into congruency to represent ourselves the way that we really want to be seen, that's when I can get really behind. And so that's the work that I really focus on doing.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I think what you're doing is so important is because it actually does a little bit of self excavation work of like, who am I?
Yeah.
And what do I want to represent? And I do similar work with people when
Yes.
I'm doing coaching, because it's like,
Yeah.
what are my values? Like, I've got my 5 values that kind of guide and lead my life about joy and curiosity and connection and valor and flourishing. And that's what I want to represent. And if I'm really trying to be aligned with that, things move so much more simply.
Don't
It's
they?
not so much
Mhm.
work in so many ways. And
Mhm.
I think about that. I don't think I think enough about that, about my image. I'm thinking about,
Right.
ooh, how do I want to feel good? Because as a
Yeah.
speaker, I'm standing up in front of people all the time.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about how we align what's on the inside with what's
Yeah.
on the outside.
I think what you said is so perfect. And I also think that most of us haven't given ourselves the space to even make the decision. So
Yeah.
it's something that's kind of there. We're kind of operating on autopilot. It's probably always been somewhat in the realm of what it is right now. And oftentimes I don't think we even realize that we have the permission to make a choice, like to choose that this is how I want to represent myself, or to choose that it could be different than what it is right now.
Mhm.
I especially think for women, once we start to reach a certain age, there's this feeling around, I don't have the permission to choose something different, or
Mhm.
I'm only allowed to look a certain way in this age category that I'm in, or whatever that may be. And so just starting from the place of truly asking ourselves, how do I want to be seen? How do I want people to receive me? And how do I want to be able to even present myself? Being really honest with ourselves about answering those questions, because for most of us, we haven't even asked ourselves that question.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit. I would love to hear about when you're working with clients,
Yeah.
the fear that comes up, because I know I'm always working with fear with my
Yeah.
clients. What's the fear that comes up when we start talking about style and image?
I think there's fear. I touched on the age one, and that's one that comes up a lot in my clients, because I think there's fear around, I'm going to receive judgment from being somebody who maybe is viewed as superficial, or
Mm.
not allowed to care about these elements of my life anymore, because I'm not in this. I don't know if the cutoff is like 25 that we're telling ourselves it is, or
Who knows?
I don't know why it cut off there, but fear of judgment around something like this, fear of really telling myself that this is actually something I want. I think for a lot of us, maybe we've just written it off. Like, if I
Mm.
don't even tell myself that I want it, then I don't need to think about it. But if I'm honest with myself and tell myself, I do want to put attention into this, and I do want to build my confidence around the external part of myself, not just the internal. And I do know that something could be better here. There's a disconnect. I think there's fear around that because there's so much unknown. So
Yeah.
it's easier to just say, like, I'm not good at it. I'm too old for it. And there's something wrong with my body, so I don't need to think about it. Or all of these things that we tell ourselves, rather than just acknowledging this is something that I actually want.
Yeah. When I started to make that shift of, I just don't even want to care about it because
Yeah,
I can't attain it.
right.
I started to realize that when I am that congruency again, that
Yeah.
alignment between
Mhm.
how I feel on the inside, wanting to show up on the outside,
Yeah,
I always feel like there was this effortlessness to style. But
right.
when I started to align, it felt more effortless. Like I felt more
Yeah.
confident because
Yeah.
I showed up in the way I wanted to show up. Because I
Mhm.
think I was also worried about being fussy. Like
Right.
there's that idea of like, oh, I don't want to be that person that's fussy.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how do you help people work through that?
I think it's really coming to the authenticity piece. So the
Mhm.
more that you can ask yourself the questions around what you actually want, or how you actually want to represent yourself, how you actually want to see yourself, the more that you can come to what's authentically you, I think exactly like you said, the easier it actually starts to become. It's when we are doing what I said before about the style rules, like feeling like we need to ascribe to certain rules, that
Mm.
there's a right and wrong way for us to do it, and that we're probably going to do it wrong. And so we really need to try hard to get it right. I think when we're operating from that place, it feels like effort. It feels difficult. So when we can start to lean into, like, this is what actually works for me, and I'm starting to open myself up to that, and just dress that way, the way you do so well, Jen. Just dress this way, dress in a way that really represents me, let go of everything else, like eliminate all of that background noise that I call it, and just lean into what really feels like me. I think it starts to become easier that way.
Yeah, it does feel smoother. Although, I mean, I have to admit, everybody, getting ready for this particular live with Jordan, I did think about my outfit quite a bit more than normal.
I do think there's some thought that goes behind it, and that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. I just think it's when we're coming from a place of, oh my gosh, like this is what I hear from clients. Oh my gosh, can I wear this together? Is this out of style? Or can these colors not go together? When we come from that place of expecting we're doing everything wrong, that there's a rule we need to follow for everything, I think that's when it becomes really difficult. And that's why people kind of start to resist it.
Yeah. Well, and I think just expanding that out to as a life lesson, when we start from that place, when we start from that place of authenticity, who am I and who do I want to be? Our communication is smoother, our leadership is smoother, and that alignment creates, I mean, if you think about the gears of a watch, if things get off, it's so much, it doesn't work. But when we're aligned with who we are, our life becomes smoother. Doesn't mean things aren't always challenging, but we have so much more direction and ease when we're going in that alignment with who do I really want to be and how do I want to show up?
Yeah, and giving myself permission to just show up that way.
Yeah, that piece I think is what I feel like creates the most fear for me. Do I just get to show up like that? Do I get to? And I think some of that is we all carry that childhood idea that we had to have permission. Like we all do that. But I think for me too, as an educator, that changed. As a teacher, I was like, I get to be the one that makes those choices. You know, I still had somebody kind of directing me. There was curriculum and that kind of stuff. And even now, as a leader in this entrepreneurial space and helping leaders in the corporate world, what I have permission to do is so much greater than what I think I have permission to do.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's what a testament to, I think, everything in life and in business. What we have permission to do is so much greater than oftentimes what we're telling ourselves we have permission to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about the fear and the authenticity, and that's the big why.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that creates fear is kind of like, oh, how? I don't even know where to start. Like, how do I do that? What do you help people do in figuring out that image part?
The how is a big one, because we could talk about it like we could talk about the why forever. The how is a big one, and what I will always say is kind of twofold. One, it's stop shopping is the first one. Like stop consuming more and buying more and adding more, because I think that's the place that most people are in. If I just keep adding more, something will fix itself here. So starting with stopping doing that, and then getting clear on what it actually looks like. So style is very visual. In order to change something or create something new for ourselves, we need to be looking at something different. That's why I'll always have people stop shopping and start finding ideas of exactly what it looks like for them. So find women who represent the image that you're trying to create. Find women who potentially, if you're struggling with fit, let's say, find women who have a similar body type to you. Find women who are the same age as you. Find women who are in your field that you look to as inspiration, who maybe can guide you in creating or cultivating an image that's in alignment with what you're trying to create. The more that we can start to look at ideas and put something new into our mind, because our mind is running on autopilot. So unless we show it something different, it's not going to just generate a new style out of nowhere.
It's totally
with new information. So spend time like studying, I call it. Study, be like the anthropologist, really getting clear on what am I trying to cultivate for myself here. And then from there, eventually we can start shopping. But most people are kind of doing it in the reverse order. They're just hoping if I get new clothes, I'll get a new style. Let's flip it and start by getting clear on what does it actually look like? What do I feel is in alignment with me? And then start to intentionally add the clothes that line up with the image that I've created. That's a very simplified and fast version of how I would do it.
Yeah, no, but I think that's really helpful. The freedom for, again, the permission. Thank you for writing the permission slip to stop shopping. Like that's actually okay. And to observe and to get this feel of what is out there that I like. Because we've already done, remember, we talked about the work of what aligns with me and the image I want to present. And sometimes it's hard to label those things. And like you said, it's visual. You start to see, oh, I like that. I like that. And I think the other thing that people often fear is this idea of my body has to change in some way in order to be stylish. And one of the mentors that I really love, her name's Emily P. Freeman, and she talked about the idea of wearing good pants, that if you buy a good pair of pants that fit you now, it's one hard decision. Like, okay, this is, and like accepting it rather than trying to shove yourself into something that is uncomfortable. And every time you wear it, you then feel bad about yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
And so how do you help, like when we're in that position, how do you help women think about, this is who I am now. I don't have to wait to be something different. I get that I have permission to live with who I am now.
Yes, I always talk about this, dressing for the self that we are today and not waiting for a future self. Because when we're waiting for a future self, we're telling ourselves that who we are right now isn't valuable or worthy enough to start working on it today. And we're going to be so out of alignment that way. So what we really want to think about is, if I want to show up as my best self today, I do need to start dressing that way now. Like I'm going to feel better in clothes that fit me now, even if my weight is changing, like my body's changing, whatever it may be. We don't need a lot of clothes, but we do need something right now that fits, that we actually feel really good in, not something where we tell ourselves, I'm losing 10 pounds. So when I do that, I'll buy the new clothes. But in the meantime, I'm going to feel like crap the whole time, wearing clothes that don't fit me properly. And I don't want anyone to look at me. And I'm completely out of alignment with the way that I want to be seen. That's not doing ourselves any favors. And it's also not motivating us to get to the place where we're really consistently representing ourselves every time we get dressed.
Yeah. And back to early on in our conversation, when you're talking, like, have you ever showed up and you're like, I don't feel really comfortable with the way I'm dressed right now. My message is going to be limited. That if you're sitting in a meeting with your boss and your team and you are trying to communicate a message and you're thinking about how the side of my shoe is digging into my foot, it's not as good.
No, nothing. You don't come from that place of confidence. And that's where we always want to come from. So, prioritizing the self of today, that's all we have, is so important.
I just love that. And I can't believe it's time to end, but I'm so glad that that's what you said at the end. That's such a powerful thing, prioritizing who we are now. And that's where confidence comes from. So tell the people where to find you and what your course is about and how we can continue this conversation.
Yes, amazing. So I'm most active right now on Instagram. So people could find me on Instagram at MiKADO Personal Styling. That's the name of my business. Definitely connect there. I do have a course that I put a cohort through a few times a year. It's called Unlock Your Signature Style. And it does start to finish foundations of personal style and really helping you cultivate a look that's authentically you. I have a wait list right now, but I am enrolling one more cohort later this year.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so LinkedIn is where you play the most. And we were talking before that she has started on TikTok. So if you're a TikToker, go check her out there. I love Jordan's style tips and how they're so easy. They're so accessible. I have learned so much from you. Just thank you for the work that you do and just the power of alignment and reminding us that who we are on the inside, we deserve to show on the outside.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Jen. This has been so wonderful.
Oh my good. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Everybody follow this way. Follow Jordan. I'm going to do it. There it is. Oh boy, it's a Monday. Follow Jordan. Make sure that you check her out. Check out her course. We're so grateful for your wisdom and style. And let's be more aligned in who we are. I love it. Happy Monday, everybody.
Monday. Bye.